I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, March the 11th, brought to you in part by EPRA Zero by Norbrook. It's a pour-on that's approved for all ages and classes of beef and dairy cattle, and it's waterproof. Contact your local veterinarian or visit norbrook.com for more information. Cash not keeping up with the board, either on feeder cattle or fat cattle, and that's primarily the reason that it was down on Wednesday. But you know, your cattle feeders would actually love to see it go down some more if they can't get any more for what their fat cattle are bringing, but they can't depend on the basis. Most everybody's hedged up there, and so not only are they not making any money to speak of on their fat cattle sales, they're losing another $4 plus on their hedges there. So you know, they would just about as soon see your fat cattle futures at $1.12. They could sell them at $1.14 and put a couple bucks in their pocket. But your cattle traders assumed, since we were getting into this part of the year where we were going to be short on market ready cattle, which we are fairly short on market ready cattle, but your packers have compiled such a captive supply that they can easily go in there and draw from those. They don't have to buy a lot of cattle on the open market. But on your feeder cattle, they've just boosted up so far above what cash sales are that they've got to come back, because they've got to come together here in just a couple of weeks here. They've got to come all the way together. We've got index levels, you know, just barely over 130 or 133.5 on your real-time index there. And we have your spot feeder cattle futures at 136.20, and we've got cash feeder cattle dropping. So they've got to come back a little bit, and whenever your futures and your cash markets don't jive together there, then it just doesn't work. But let's look at your futures market on Wednesday. April live cattle futures down 87 cents at 118.77. June down 67 at 118.97. You go to your back months and they were down 80 cents to up a little bit on your way far outs, up as much as 30 cents, but not too much positive there. March feeder cattle down 95 at 136.20, just trying to get back down there where cattle are actually selling. April feeder cattle down 35 cents at 141.72. Go on your back months, they were very quiet as far as volatility, going from unchanged to down 17 cents. But all your commodities, ag commodities, were down pretty hard on Wednesday. You look at your grain markets. March corn down 14 1/4 at 547 3/4 to close on Wednesday. Beans down 29 3/4, and they are so volatile. They'll just take your head off in every direction. But closing on Wednesday at 14.11 per bushel. Fat cattle trade continued after we had Tuesday, some afternoon and evening trade on Tuesday, and then continued on Wednesday about the same, and it's on a weaker note, but likely your weighted averages are going to be close to steady. But Iowa 3,200 head with live sales confirmed from 110 to 113, which would be, you know, $1 to $3 lower, but lighter live sales in Iowa. Dress sales at 178 and nothing any higher than that, so that's sure lower over in Iowa. But Nebraska holding pretty well steady. 16,400 head in Nebraska, 113 to 114, kind of balanced out there with your weighted average there somewhere in the middle. Dress sales from 178 to 180. Kansas 7,700 head from 113 to mostly 114, so pretty much steady. Some 180 dressed in Kansas on the northern side. Texas about 1,700 head, same as Kansas, 113 to mostly 114, but we're hearing that the Southern Plains 114 bids were pulled back and likely can't even get 113 now in the Southern Plains. Box beef cutout values were lower. Choice cuts on Wednesday afternoon, 227.29 down $1.74. Selects 219.82 down $3.98. Your slaughter running pretty much on pace where it should be as opposed to last week, but 363,000 through Wednesday. That's 1,000 less than a week ago, 9,000 less than the same time a year ago. But as we've seen in recent weeks here, we've been running a pretty good Saturday, so we're likely to catch back up with that by the totally end of the week. What else is going on? Don't miss out on Joplin Regional Stockyards prime time video. It's going to be 1 o'clock here on Thursday, and they've got several lots there, pretty nice feeder cattle. Be sure to tune in on that sale. Also coming to you here from Stephenville, Texas, going to be going south on Thursday morning, just a little ways down to Desdemona, Texas, to the Rooney Angus Ranch sale. That sale starts at 10 a.m. They've got some high-powered Angus bulls there with really good numbers on them. And don't forget, that sale is starting earlier than most at 10 a.m., about 200 head of Angus bulls, and then they've got some females to sell after that. Talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV auction late on Wednesday at 133.58. That's down 21 cents from the end of Tuesday's trade, and most of your markets were kind of steady to weak, steady, maybe a buck lower here and there, and that just goes right along with what your index showed. Talk about your big sales on Wednesday. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, 14,300 head. Pretty good run there. A lot of wheat cattle coming off, but you compare that to a year ago, 6,800 head. So a lot of still catching up here from that cold spell that we had there a couple of weeks ago, where guys got behind on their sales, and everybody pulling their cattle off wheat so they can be off there by March the 15th. So those guys that have some wheat can make a crop out of that. Look at your markets out of OKC West and El Reno. Feeders steady, and calves fully steady, so just pretty much a steady market right there in El Reno. And look at some of your other sales. Winter Livestock, Dodge City, Kansas, 6,600 head, awful good run at Winter Livestock there in Dodge. Feeder cattle selling steady to a buck lower. Your middleweight calves, and that includes your stocker type cattle, $3 to $6 higher. But lightweight calves that we've been seeing kind of launch here ever since the first of the year, they were $4 to $6 lower, and you guys are not as apt to turn those old 3 and light 4-weight cattle out on grass as they are on wheat. They just can't make as good a use of it. But several loads I noticed out of Dodge City, Kansas, weighing in the 8s, 8 to 900 pounds, selling right around 130. And that's a pretty good market, really, for the way things are right now. Talk about some individual quotes and some load lot deals. How about Cherokee Sales Company in Cherokee, Oklahoma, Jared Herman sale? Look at these load lots and bigger of feeder steers right here. And not looking too bad, but look at the stick out deal on there. And they didn't have many cattle in the really, really light 8s there, but look at this 119 head there included in these lots. 804 pounds at 136.75. That's by far your top quote in the Southern Plains. Some other individual quotes. Sidney Livestock Market Center, Sidney, Montana. They've been selling them good up there and really good on the calves. How about 61 head, 584 pound steer calves, weighing nearly 6 there at 169.50. Best sale that I saw anywhere on Wednesday was out of Bloomfield, Iowa. The Schoolies up there had 2,800 head there at the Bloomfield Livestock Market. Included in there was the Scott steers at 148 head. String weighed 703 pounds at 153.10. But the best quote that I saw anywhere also come out of Bloomfield on Wednesday. And your Zactran top quote for the day, 67 head. 807 pound feeder steers at 138.85. That's your feeder flash for Thursday.